Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Ken Goldberg on the line, and he is founder of DSE Trading. Ken, welcome to the show.
Okay, great to be here finally.
All right, Ken. So this episode's been a long time coming. I'm excited to announce you as a new author in our upcoming Business Leader Series book, and also a new podcast host on the network as well. So we have a whole lot of things to talk about, and of course, we'll talk about DSE trading and the work you're doing there and your background. But before we get into all that, we'll start this episode the way that we start them all, with our Mission Matters Minute. So Ken, we at Mission Matters amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's our mission. Ken, what mission matters to you?
There are many, but let's talk about the one that I've really begun to focus on, which is helping people make more informed, less emotional, better objective decisions about their money. You know, it's about making money and making friends for me at this time in my life. It's about relationships.
Yeah, it's great. And I love bringing mission-based individuals on the show to share why they do what they do, how they're doing it, right? Because we all want to learn and grow together. So great to have you on. And for the audience, just to let you know, this is the first interview of a two-part series. We'll be bringing Ken back on the show to do a deep dive into his book and into the writing. But for today, we're just going to do a little teaser, but we'll be bringing Ken back on and do a whole episode on it. So first off, Ken, so the upcoming Mission Matters book that you'll be part of, what inspired your writing and your topic in this volume?
Well, I've spent the last 3+ decades now leveling the playing field, helping people understand the game that we all think is fair. But as you know, it's only fair if you're at the top of the pyramid. Us guys down at the bottom, it's just not fair. So my goal is to kind of uncover the myths and the fallacies and show people how they can know when the game's being run on them and do better.
Yeah. So speaking of your past, I mean, let's go further back into your career. So how did you get started in business?
Well, I was a psychology major in college and did some work in manipulating eyewitness testimony, which was fun. But that led me to kind of know I wasn't going to be a psychologist professionally. And so I decided to slip in a quick minor in business and went on to work for, then powerhouse investment bank Drexel Burnham at their heyday. Yeah. And that was the beginning of really seeing where my focus was and my passion was.
And so in my mind, I see, first off, for those of you that are maybe newer to the show, you may not know this, but so my background's in finance, almost 14 years in finance as an advisor and other things. And so I think that just the financial industry as a whole is a great place for individuals to be. I mean, a lot of really thoughtful individuals that want to do good work for their clients in that industry. So Ken, I'd be interested to hear your perspective, for that newer, let's just say just graduating college, or that fresh group of, workforce that are thinking about getting their feet wet in the business in general. It could be on the money management side or the, working directly with clients side. What kind of things would you tell them about getting started? Like, what would be some reason?
Well, it's a great industry and there's unlimited upside if you want to work hard. If you're into serving people, you can do that. I really found that my background in psychology allowed me to understand people, not only what people told me, but what they were really thinking, kind of behind the face, behind the eyes. And that really led to my success. And then as I wanted to go deeper and learn more about risk management, I left and went to the exchange floors of Chicago and really learned the mechanics of the markets. Once I did that, I could then come back into the public eye and do a better explanation of what people should be looking at, but also really emphasize on the risk management, because we can all make money, but keeping money is a harder thing.
Yeah. And so at what point, like one of the things that has kind of stuck out as I've gotten to know you better is your focus on content, on adding value. And you like, and the amount of content you put out and the quality of content that you put out, by the way, is, I don't know if that was intuitive to you or like where you're, because I'll tell you where I'm going with this. A lot of people in finance, so myself included, before I was in the media business, I was not thinking about necessarily, I was thinking about my clients, my book of business, the people that I'm working with directly on a day to day. But I wasn't really thinking about putting content out there to help the masses or to make sure, like you said, that the people that are, at the other spectrums of the pyramid have a fair shot at their investments and at hitting their goals and what matters to them. On your end, what really just struck me is, since I've gotten to know you, is that you've been producing content. You've understood the idea of putting out like value into the universe, and on the finance side, using your expertise for a long time. Like, how did that come about to you? Like, where did that start?
Well, it was rough because I was never a public speaker. I feared it, nauseous level having to do something at the front of the class.
Yeah.
And kind of when day trading started in the late 90s, and then after, a decade and a half of being an investment manager and getting to know people, learning how to present to them, I just realized that it was time for me to hit the road and go around the country and teach people how to protect themselves and their money
Yeah.
rather than just get on these machines and start banging money around.
Mhm.
Most people didn't do well. So, 35 years in the business, hundreds of thousands of dollars of trial and error. I've got
Mhm.
a lot of lessons under my belt that you shouldn't have to learn all of them yourself. If
Mhm.
I can, show you, definitely don't go down there. That's a bad road. Don't open that door. Oh yeah, that's a great one. Let's go down there. We can do that together. So I figure I might as well share this stuff.
Mhm. I mean, I love this idea of like, and I see this theme overall. So of moving maybe from competition to collaboration, like that's one of our big things and mottos at Admission Matters. And just, it's something that's done just very well for me in my life in terms of, it's just a better quality of living, like collaborating, being with other people and that are like-minded or that you can learn from. So this idea of you kind of taking your knowledge and sharing it with others so that they can benefit, to me, it's a big deal. A lot of people don't take that extra step, and I think it's just lost resource, lost things. I mean, I've had some people that say, okay, the knowledge goes with you to the grave or this or that, and I don't like to be that morbid with it, but it is true in a sense. It's like, if you don't find the ways to add value or to add to that collective, then it's just a wasted resource, right?
Yeah, I've ruined many exotic vacations because I didn't think that I could let go of trading. And I
Yeah.
traded 18 hours a day overnight, year
Wow.
all of the different markets around the planet,
Mhm.
and would be up at 3 a.m. in Maui, trading when I should be sleeping so I could go hit the beach and surf or whatever. So at some point, it was when I
Yeah.
had my kids really that I
Mhm.
decided that, that's just not what I'm here to do. I'm
Yeah.
here to be their father, the right type of husband, the
Mhm.
right type of son to my parents, and the right type of friend to my friends. And 18 hours a day, it didn't feel right anymore. And so I
Mhm.
stopped doing that and went down this other road of helping and sharing and coaching people who oftentimes, don't have as much experience, even though they have a lot of money.
Mm. Great. I want to shift focus here for a moment. Let's go further into DSE trading. So maybe just tell us a little bit more about the company, please.
Yeah. So DSE trading comes out of this decision support engine, basically these algorithms that I've developed over the years,
Mhm.
that is like a checklist for a pilot. Most pilots don't just walk down the pathway, turn
Mhm.
on the engine and take off. They walk around, they check the tires, where's my fuel, what are my flaps doing, whether right? They don't even consider taking their action until they've checked it out.
Mhm.
So the DSE I built in order to help customers, clients, traders, investors have a process before they push the button, like buying Bitcoin at 69,000. A
Yeah.
lot of people thought that was a good idea, but they didn't check their checklist. Had they done so, had they consulted something like the DSE, it would have been clear that that was not the right action at that time.
Mhm.
So the DSE is here. and I am here to use it to help people speculate better, manage risk far better, and achieve the outcomes that they're looking for.
What types of individuals do you find get the most value out of working with you and your team? So is this for like people that are really experienced, or people that have no experience? Is there like a middle ground? Like, give us a little bit of a flavor of like what it's like to work with you and your team.
Yeah, so I'm sure you remember that it doesn't matter if you're just starting out or
Mhm.
have $1 billion.
Yeah.
We're human. We make the same mistakes no matter our income level.
Oh yeah.
And the reason is that we all have this thing called an ego,
Hmm.
where when it goes right, we think we did it all. And when it goes wrong, we got to blame somebody.
Yeah.
And so I've helped and trained and coached so many people that
Mhm.
if I talk to someone for 15 or 20 minutes, I
Mhm.
can tell them what mistakes they're about to make and how many times they're going to have to make them
Mhm.
before they learn the lesson. So, I've got clients that call me from their private jet. I've got
Mhm.
clients that call me from their job,
Mhm.
and everyone in between. It just depends on someone's openness to using a perspective or paradigm
Mhm.
that they're not getting really in the media.
Mhm.
Everything that we do is crowd behavior,
Mhm.
mood based. If you think of it like this, you know how a pendulum works, right? The pendulum
Yep.
swings this way to that way.
Mhm.
And we have mania and depression.
Mhm.
And the pendulum never goes from mania down and then back to mania and then down,
Mhm.
right? It goes all the way back and forth. And
Mhm.
so does the crowd, so does our collective unconsciousness about everything. So, for instance, sometimes we like short skirts,
Mhm.
sometimes we like long skirts.
Mhm.
What determines that? Well, it's not Versace,
Yeah.
the mood of the fashionistas, the buyers. Sometimes
Mhm.
we like eating in restaurants, sometimes we like to go, sometimes we like crypto, sometimes we like NFTs.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter. We like it together. There's a saying, I can't remember who said it, but that most people would rather go broke in a crowd than be successful by themselves.
Yeah.
We're pack animals.
So the lenses that you see the world in to me are interesting because it's definitely you're a trader. Like it comes through it. I mean, it's obvious in this interview. Can you maybe give us some insight into just the logic behind some of maybe the behavioral finance, if that's the word I want to use or we should use them, but just the logic behind the methodologies that go into how decision making can be made in an investment strategy versus maybe sometimes how it is made. And I know that's a little bit of a generalization, but you know where I'm going with that. Like there's two different ways to think on this.
Yeah, so most of us are taught as both financial professionals and clients, we're taught to, watch earnings and seek market penetration and things like that. But in fact, that's one of the fallacies that we uncover, and that is that earnings drive stock price movement.
Yeah.
Well, we think that if earnings go up, price goes up. Yet, how many times have we seen a company announce good earnings and the price goes down?
Mm-hmm.
It's a coin toss. It's 50-50. So
Yeah.
therefore, if it's 50-50, then earnings as an indicator is a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
It's not correlated. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. However, what we found through looking at the data going back 300 years of stock price movement
Mm-hmm.
is that the crowd's mood, their
Mm-hmm.
sentiment, how they feel determines stock price movement. So if we're comfortable in our job, we're making money, our marriage or relationships are good, our dog isn't, doing his business on the carpet, all that kind of stuff. If life is good, we're in a good mood. So we all together buy stocks.
Mm-hmm.
And when things are bad, when pandemics are rolling around the world or interest rates are skyrocket or whatever, we're in a less good mood. And as a crowd, we are more depressed. And so
Mm-hmm.
stock prices go down. And so if we learn to open our mind to seeing that picture, it causes us to be able to think,
Mm-hmm.
was 69,000 really such a good price for Bitcoin? And I use
Yeah,
that because it's a recent extreme,
it
and
is.
many people around the world are absolutely buried in crypto.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a year ago, all-time high, and here they are buried. I mean, multiple crypto banks are going broke by the week, and we're not done. It's not over. right?
Yeah.
The leverage isn't unfolded yet. So it's a perspective that you have to be willing to adopt.
Mhm.
And once you do, it offers a way to view everything
Mhm.
from the perspective of, is this the right time for that action?
Mhm. So you mentioned crypto a few times, so I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. So what kind of markets does the DSE trading methodology or method, like what kind of things can you like
Oh
work
boy.
within for that?
Yeah. So anything that's liquid
Hmm.
and is graphable,
Yeah.
because the DSC looks for the footprint of the crowd's behavior. So it sees a particular chart pattern, which is a lot of the stuff I post in Mission Matters, sees a pattern, and then it looks back over 300 years of history and it says, oh, yeah, that pattern consistently leads to this coming outcome.
Hmm.
So then we get a probability ranking of, okay, if that happens over history and this follows, then there's a good chance it's going to follow again. And
Hmm.
so then you can set up your play. Should I be buying or should I be selling or should I be waiting? And
Hmm.
that's really where our work differs from most others.
That's great. And I just wanted to bring that up because I know you mentioned crypto a couple times and I'm like, but it's bigger than that. Not obviously that's top of mind. That's what's going on right now, but, and will continue. I'm not saying it's going anywhere. Don't want any of those quotes out there, but I did want to say that, it's kind of, I see a lot of value in it, and I see a lot of value in the potential for those that are especially not making the right types of decisions, or don't, and especially those that don't have help or don't have a way to like really vet what they're being told, versus off of something else. Because I think a lot of times what just as the industry as a whole, or whoever communicates this message, I'm not saying it's the advisors, I'm not saying it's the investor, but just the machine of investment. Sometimes people don't realize that they're products, right? A mutual fund is a product. A stock is a form of investing, and is a product. Crypto, it's a product. And just like you would think about what you're investing in as a product in different ways, the vehicle may also change. And so as we look at all of this, I think it's important, and I think it's interesting to have a methodology that can evaluate across different products. You're not just looking at a mutual fund. You're not just looking at a stock. You're looking at the behavior of a bunch of different industries. So I think
Well,
it's unique.
and to circle back to your
Hmm.
question, what markets does the DSC apply to?
Hmm.
Stocks, bonds,
Yeah.
commodities,
Yeah.
metals, crypto, real estate, interest rates,
Hmm.
crude oil. It doesn't matter. If it's
Yeah.
liquid and graphable, we can come up with a forecast,
Yeah.
usually a series of probability rankings. It never comes up with, this is the answer. It often comes up with, this is the highest probability that's
Mhm.
going to come next. This is the
Yeah.
second. This is the third. And then as an investor, you can plan. Maybe you want to put a little money into each of the three highest probability outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So shifting focus slightly here, but I'm excited about it because this is the type of like conversation that you're having all the time, and I'm just excited to talk about it. So your new podcast. I mean, when I was when it was announced, I should say, that you would be a host on our network, I was just like, oh come on! I'm like, I'm in. Number one, I can't wait to see. And for all of our audience to also benefit from your knowledge and the many years that you've had doing what you do, and also for the type of guests that you may choose to bring on as well. I think it's just going to be a great value add. Let's go into like, what's your concept and idea for the type of content that you'd like to put out on your show?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So, Leveling the Playing Field is the title of the podcast, and that really comes from, in 1999, I was on CNBC and Tyler Matheson asked me, Ken, it looks like you're leveling the playing field for day traders. And at that time, I was introducing a very kind of beginning version of the DSE, and he just loved it. I thought that I should call the podcast that because it's been so long now, and I've seen it with so many people in so many different aspects of life, that leveling the playing field applies to a lot of things. For instance, my latest podcast deals with a guy who's changing the way the foster care system works. And
Yeah.
it's the numbers are obvious that there's a difference. I want to bring on people that are leveling the playing field and changing their industry and many aspects of life, marriage counseling, child rearing,
Yeah.
dog training. If you've got a better cupcake, I want to taste it, basically.
Oh, I like that one. I do too.
I must be hungry.
I was just gonna say I like that one too, though. I'm in,
You
and
can use that.
so I mean, I just think it's gonna be a hit. Like I'm excited. I'm excited to promote it. I'm excited to tell everybody that'll listen, to subscribe, of course, because I just know you're gonna put out great content. You do great. You do quality work. I've been watching it for a while. So I had to say, Ken, it's been awesome having you on the show. We got a lot more coming on. We'll be bringing you back, of course, for a return follow-up interview. We'll do a deep dive into your writing, of course, in the upcoming Business Leaders book series. But I'll say for now, what's next? I mean, what's next for you? What's next for DSE Trading? What's on the agenda?
Well, I want to help more people. I use the DSE algorithms to
Mhm.
enter and win a trading contest at the World Championships of Trading in 2007. Probably won't do that again. I've used it in a couple hedge funds that I started and sold.
Yeah.
I don't really see that as my passion anymore. I really want to use understanding crowd dynamics and sentiment and herding behavior to help different fields. I'm consulting to attorneys now. I'm helping entrepreneurs and business owners plan out, the next what it might look like 3 to 5 years from now in their
Yeah.
in industry. So that really excites me a lot.
It's great. And if somebody wants to follow up and learn more about DSE trading or to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
You can email me at ken@dsetrading.com. You can go to dsetrading.com. There's some social media links that we'll post here, and I'm here to help.
Fantastic. And we'll put all that information in the show notes so that our audience can just click on the link and head right on over. And don't forget, subscribe to Leveling the Playing Field. We'll leave the links to that. And of course, that's on missionmatters.com. So definitely want to check that out. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time engaging with the Mission Matters platform or listening to an interview, we're all about bringing on mission-based individuals and having them share their mission, why they do what they do, how they're doing it, like what can we all learn and gain and grow together as a community from that information. If that's the type of content that's interesting or sounds engaging to you or meaningful, like hit that subscribe button. We have many more mission-based individuals coming up on the line, and we don't want you to miss a thing. And Ken, it has been a pleasure. Looking forward to our next interview, and thanks again for coming on the show.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks for having me, Adam.